Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code ONEFREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer for Kentucky Derby Prep Recap, taking a look back at the Grade 3 Withers going 1 1/8 miles over a wet track in New York. We break from the gate at the Big A. You're going to see El Grande O, the New York bred. He's going to power out to the front. He's going to get some company. Keep an eye on the 8, Uncle Heavy, though. He's got to carry some ground going into the first turn.
Yeah, Uncle Heavy can't get over here. He's going to be 4 wide around this first turn, but he's never far away, Dan. He doesn't really lose any position. He just has to sit on the outside the entire way here. El Grande, you knew this was coming. They're going to use this horse's speed. He goes to the front. He will get joined up on the pace here up the backstretch, and then he'll have to really contest it around the second turn.
He's got Seminole Chief to his outside. He's got Canate 3 wide. These horses are going to push El Grande O. The fractions are okay, 24, 49 and change. Uncle Heavy on the outside. Now, we were talking before we went on, and it seemed like the inside has been good at Aqueduct recently, and Uncle Heavy losing ground, I think that's an extra feather in his cap.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, even if it wasn't an inside track, you never want to be 4 wide around the first turn in a 2-turn route. He's 4 wide up the backstretch. He will get over a little bit here on the second turn, and I think it might be key to him eventually winning this race. He's able to get over to about the 2 path here around the final turn, so he doesn't lose any more ground. And as this photo turns out at the end, he couldn't afford to.
El Grande O and Canate create some separation here through the third quarter. And just as in the Jerome earlier this year, Canate gave a challenge to El Grande O and gets shrugged off. And El Grande O is eventually going to turn into the stretch with a clear lead. And it just looks like everybody else is off the bridle. This is El Grande O's chance to win a major race at 1 1/8 miles. Distance was a big question mark, and he looks good right now.
He looks tough at this point, Dan. I mean, he's got a clear lead passing the 8th pole. But you can tell that Uncle Heavy, he never gave up the chase here. Even as he had a lot of ground to make up, he never stopped trying. He's starting to get to El Grande O now. He is just going to nail this horse on the wire.
I had El Grande O, you had Uncle Heavy. I texted you 3 words after they hit the wire. I hate you. Uncle Heavy, 9-1, Michael Sanchez for Butch Reed. This is a horse that Butch had been telling me really wanted more distance. He certainly seemed to love it 2 starts back in the Wait For It Stakes, a race where he had to carry some ground and then angled inside a clear leader. He wants to beat you, and he does want distance.
He does want distance. You're right. He's just a very game horse. He's a very professional horse. He is now 2 for 2 around 2 turns. They're both on wet tracks, though, so that's something that you have to keep in mind wherever he turns up next. He's run well on fast dirt as well, but his last 2 starts, the 2 route races, both on wet tracks.
I think it's a promising sign that he broke a lot better this time, because in his race where he disappointed, the Pennsylvania Nursery, the only time he's lost in his career, he missed the break completely and just had a complete excuse that day. And when he won the Wait For It, it's not like his break was much better. So maybe this guy's getting more professional as he's gaining seasoning.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's done everything right so far, save the second career start there where he did break very poorly, and it wound up costing him. But his other 3 races, they're all really good, and he's shown good stuff in all of those races, whether it had to be chasing down a heavy favorite or losing a lot of ground as he did here in this race, and still coming with a big finish.
It was another honest performance for El Grande O. No excuses to lose the race. Maybe this distance was just a little bit too far. He had to take pressure in the early 5 furlongs or so, but it's not like they were really blazing the trail. He ran very, very well. I'm just not sure 1 1/8 miles and farther is where his whole card is.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. And listen, he did take pressure up the backstretch in this race. You could see there in the replay around that second turn, he really had to race off a challenger, and I'm sure that cost him something at the end of this race. But it's not like, the thing is, it's not like Uncle Heavy came from way out of it. I mean, Uncle Heavy was a couple of lengths behind the leaders up the backstretch. So it's not like this pace totally disintegrated. El Grande O opened a clear stretch lead, and he just could not hold on going this distance.
Beaten favorite in here from the Brad Cox barn. That was Lightline coming up from Oaklawn Park. He ran okay to be 3rd. Maybe he didn't care for a muddy track. It's far too early to give up on a horse like this, especially going 1 1/8 miles so early in his career.
Yeah, it's just, we'll see. He's got a lot to prove, this horse, to see how good he actually is. He ran okay in this race. I don't know about you. I didn't see any excuse for him as far as the trips go. He was sort of in a similar position to Uncle Heavy most of the way on the deck. Uncle Heavy was to his outside most of the way. And this horse just couldn't quite kick on. He did okay to be third. He never looked like he was going to win.
Speed Runner broke from the inside for Todd Pletcher, and he got into a little bit of traffic trouble on the turn. I'm not really sure it cost him that much, but to me, he's just a horse that doesn't have a lot of speed. He wants distance, and he's a kind of horse. He reminds me of Tappet Trice a little bit, sort of a poor man's version where you can't afford to get stopped at any part of the running with him.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he does next time. Your points are well taken, though. First of all, I was at least a little surprised that he got outrun to the first turn of this race. They just ran away from him in the early stages. And then when he did work his way, back into a pretty good position on the backstretch, right into that far turn, he's on the rail, and he just got in very tight there, and he couldn't hold that position. It really did cost him. I'm not going to say he ran a great race here, but I'll be interested to see what he does next time.
Mission Beach was stretching out in distance, stepping up in class off an allowance win at Laurel Park. He just didn't show a lot of interest. He got banged around a little bit coming out of the gate, but boy, was he far, far back, and he just couldn't make up any ground.
Yeah, I mean, he did get bumped hard at the start, but then he got outrun. You could see around the final turn, his rider wanted to get this horse moving forward. He just couldn't really make any kind of impression on this race. He was never involved at any point, and he was very disappointing.
Let's take a closer look at the Pennsylvania-bred Uncle Heavy, who's now won 3 times from 4 lifetime starts, earned a career-best 84 Beyer speed figure in winning the Withers. He's trained by Butch Reed, who's one of the best in the business, based in the Mid-Atlantic area, based at Parks. Michael Sanchez has been aboard for all 4 starts. He's by Social Inclusion, who is a pretty quick sort of middle-distance horse, mile and a 16th type. The dam a half to a stakes place dirt miler. But watching Uncle Heavy run, I'm not really too worried about the pedigree being more on the speed side, because this horse just acts like he wants to go as far as they write races.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think you really worry about that stuff anymore. He's shown that he can get a distance of ground. He just stays and stays and stays in his races, even past the wire in this race here. Again, he just kept going and got away from these horses. So you don't worry about distance with him. He's good right now. He's got to get faster.
Wood Memorial is going to be next for Uncle Heavy as we take a look at the prices for the Grade 3 Withers. $20.60 for Uncle Heavy. So close for El Grande O. He holds second over Lightline, third for Brad Cox. It was 8, 4, and 3 in the Grade 3 Withers. And Uncle Heavy, hey, is on the Kentucky Derby Trail, another PA bred, maybe like Smarty Jones. Good luck.